Hi guys, welcome back. Scatlink here, and we're off for more Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. And in the last episode, we made it to the baths, where we claimed the Sword of the Mighty Warrior, which allows us to break down walls that have been, well, magically reinforced instead of, just completely being rebuilt. Unfortunately, the sword acts like a key, so that allows us to escape this room because we couldn't go any further forward. Now, this episode's a little bit interesting. We're only going to be making a little bit of progress today because we have a bunch of stuff to showcase, which is different depending on the version you're playing. And unfortunately on the PS3 version, it lacks.
It said this palace was built on the ruins of an even more ancient one. But I thought that was just a story.
Now what do we do?
The story of the original Prince of Persia. In that room there. We want to get there. Now, although I didn't start off this episode with a previous vision, because it literally just shows this very next jump, we're mostly going to go into the past on this one.
I'll go.
But beforehand, we need to make it there. So as she shimmies into that room, makes her way across, or just stands in that room, which I can see her doing. Okay, now she's moving, because we've got her off screen. Again, the distance that she covers is ridiculous. Let's just wall jump here. Grab this. And jump across this chasm with death-defying acrobatics. Hold forward there and you'll automatically do a roll, which is very nice. Gotta jump over this way. This is very rickety. Very ancient stuff down here. Can't go any further forward. Gotta drop down. Just need to make it into that room that we were shown that Farah is currently sitting in. That was a drop. Do not drop again. Climb up. I mean, you would probably press the jump button anyway, but that would also probably fling you. Wall climb here. Let's make sure that we can do this on the first try. There we are. As soon as it raises up, the camera raises up, we are safe because we grabbed the ledge. Not the safest, but it's fine. Now, thankfully, we don't actually need to jump on the ledge above to make this jump. You can just do it from here.
Here I am. I can't open the gate.
Stay there. I'll come down to you.
Aha! There's a ledge right on the precarious platform that we're on. If you don't actually know where to go, Farah will point out to the fact that there is actually a ledge below you, and not this particular ledge. The ledge that we used to get here. And all we gotta do now is just some shimmy along the walls, and we have made it. And ironically enough, other than the next room, that's all we're covering in this episode in terms of progression. Because we are going to segue to the much more lower resolution original on the PS2, in progressive scan mode, of course. This applies to all versions. You push this lever toward the locked door, and you unlock it and shut off the way you came from. However, if we keep going, you can see both doors lock, but hear another one open. Smash this wall, the lever does not rotate further. And voila! On PS2, GameCube, and most Xbox versions, you unlock a port of the Macintosh version of the original Prince of Persia. Makes sense since we find the original game in the ancient palace, doesn't it? Clever secret. Notice how the direction of the lever opens the direction that it's facing in. Now, approaching this staircase will prompt a non-sand vortex save, which you can continue from here if you decide to try out the unlocked game first without quitting the game. This really does remind me of how Donkey Kong 64 had ports of the original Donkey Kong Arcade and Jetpack, unlockable to play whenever, or how the many Pac-Man games include the original arcade Pac-Man. As long as a file that has unlocked this secret is loaded, you can play this game from the title screen, which I will show shortly after showing some gameplay. Now, be warned, if you're in progressive scan mode for the PS2 version, you may notice the original is not centered, a little bit higher, and slightly to the left. I have centered the game screen, but not touched the scaling for better viewing. I can only assume on PS2, since I haven't played this on GameCube and scan modes are normally done upon boot up for that console, the original game screen is misaligned due to switching back to interlace mode, aka not progressive scan mode, when loading in. I say this because my capture bugs out due to the changed signal, and on the title screen I have to re-enable the progressive scan mode. This is the full original game using the Macintosh version as its base, just slightly modified for the console that you're playing it on. All PC versions of The Sands of Time lack this bonus since you can just play the game anyway via various methods, including through Steam itself. All passwords, secrets, and glitches work. If you want, you could just input a code to the boss level against your father Vizier, or skip that level since the final level is actually just finishing straight to the princess. It's basically officially emulated like what I have mentioned before with DK64 and Pac-Man, or any of the arcade compilations that you see. Also, please excuse my bad play. I'm not used to how stiff it controls. I do not play this very often. As I mentioned, leaving the original to Return to the Sands of Time basically reboots the game, hence why all the logos are showing. So keeping with the screen correction that I have made, on PS2 you can see how much the non-progressive mode is so misaligned. I haven't mentioned this much, but also in editing, the sound mixing of this game is very annoying to deal with. Some voice sounds are actually in the voice volume, but some are actually music tracks and others are sound effects. I've turned down sound effects and music so we could possibly hear the voices, but balancing the sound is an effort of futility in-game. So I've been boosting the voices for you in editing. It's where most of the editing goes for these videos, barring this particular one for this bonus. And this ultra-specific difference to the US NTSC Xbox version in particular. Keep in mind, other than on PS3 and any PC version, this secret is the same. You push the lever to the wall, you smack it 3 times to unlock your bonus game. This works on all versions on PS2, GameCube and Xbox. However, that's not the original game, that's the sequel to the original game, The Shadow and the Flame. This is also the Macintosh version, but why does the US NTSC Xbox port in particular give you not the original, but the sequel to the original? I mean, the same thing happens here, but the game is changed. Why? Before we boot into the game, let me say that I live in the UK, so I would have access to the PAL Xbox version.
I'll start the story.
This generation of consoles, except for the Game Boy Advance, were region locked, so I don't have access to a US Xbox or an NTS version of the Sands of Time, save for modding and or importing. The Shadow and the Flame within Sands of Time is officially emulated, so I think this footage is fine, if you catch my drift. I want to give special thanks to Green Light Ring for helping me set this up. There is no signal resolution change here. I assume the same could be for the GameCube. Again, I believe only the PS2 version has a bit of a resolution and alignment issue when changing to the emulated bonus because of how it works. Good thing my PS3 handles the de-interlacing for interlaced output in it. Now, I am aware that this game seems to have a smaller internal resolution than the original Prince of Persia. I have not edited the screen at all here. The annoying thing is I have no way to compare on different Sands of Time ports, as again this is exclusively included to the US NTSC Xbox ports of the Sands of Time. Although, again, speaking of sound mixing, this game is much louder than the original, so I had to balance the sound in editing to not blow your ears out. But like before, this is the full game, so again, all passwords, secrets and glitches from before on the Macintosh will work. And again, excuse my terrible gameplay, it's even worse here since I'm not used to the Xbox/PC gamepad layout. Even on Banjo-Kazooie, when I was playing that, it messed me up a few times, so please excuse me. I do not plan on going through these two games in full, because they are completely separate games. Notice when leaving the emulated bonus on Xbox, it doesn't fully reboot the Sands of Time like it does on PS2, further adding to my reasoning as to why a signal and resolution change happens, the dev logos and the game splash screens did not display. Now, going into the extras here shows, hang on a minute, the original is available to unlock on top of the sequel? How do you unlock it here? Beat Sands of Time. Yep. The US NTSC Xbox version is technically the best version for offering 3 games in one, barring the PS3 trophy achievements and widescreen support. And to unlock the original, like in all other versions for PS2, GameCube and Xbox versions, is now an extra bonus for just finishing the Sands of Time. No other version gives a bonus for beating the game, and the button combination cheat code that you can do in all versions of the game, but the buttons differ depending on the version, will only unlock the wall secret game at any time. Speaking of, we are back on the PS3 version after I've reached the next save point. Again, mess of a video. As you can see, the only thing in the extras for PS3 version is the making of, which I guess is good because a lot of other PS3 games that are remakes of or remasters of PS2 games, similar to Ico, because that was a separate app, gives you a making of, but then it just gives you access to the credits. There's no grayed out option of unlocking the original Prince of Persia game. It doesn't exist, as I've already shown. However, if we were to start a new game, we then hold L3, which is a left stick, once the camera stops with the zoom, once we have control. There we are. We want to hold in the left stick for L3, and then we want to hit X, square, triangle, circle, triangle, X, square, circle. And then we enter the room.
Nope.
Hang on a minute, it didn't seem to work. Let me try it again. Hold L3. X, square, triangle, circle. Oh shit. Hang on. Hold L3. X, square, triangle, circle, triangle, X, square, circle. Then if we enter...
Nope.
It's not taking me in. Alright, I have to keep cutting back here, because maybe I'm not doing it fast enough. So hold L3, X square, triangle, circle, triangle, X square, circle. No? Oh, I wasn't doing it quick enough. Wow, you got to do that quick. So yes. Do what I told you to do, but you just got to like tap it like douche, 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 douche. It's that quick. And we have a 3D recreation of the first level of the original Prince of Persia. In engine. This is what the 3D remake of the original Prince of Persia is actually based off of. Because it does use the graphical style of the original Prince of Persia. But this is obviously like, we're not shirtless here. Because it's still got a base level, but without a sword. Base level normally has a start with a sword. But, yeah, things are still the same as you'd expect. For some reason, pressing the L2 button to change camera angle for some reason just shows you 24 cases of pop. So that's a bit weird. And we don't have first person. But, obviously, this Prince is a little bit better than the original, because we can actually take full damage to a certain extent. But if you know how to get through the first level, it is pretty much the same. All the fixed camera angles are quite on point, but you are on a 3D axis. So you can actually move up and down, which could mess you up. So, of course, I'm going to play through this. I've played through the other games, but I'm not going to beat the other games unless I was going to cover them separately. I was just showing them off. So that button allows us to get back out. Head over this way. We got to make a jump here. Or we can roll. That's a thing that we couldn't do in the original. All of our usual moveset is in this. In fact, I think if we want to, yes, we can actually wall run if we are going to break the 2D axis and go against the back wall. So you can actually do wall runs to cheese certain platforming sections if you really want to. And a little bit of spoilers, we've actually got a weapon that we're not going to get in the main game for quite a while, which just, you know, for the sake of making this a thing that you can do. But we're not going to see any of the abilities of this sword. I guess they just chose it for the visual. Plus, it's a bigger blade, so it shows up better with this kind of camera angle. But the ironic thing is, normally you'd have that one guard that would basically require you to go get the sword, so you can get past them unless you time your jumps past them, and then on the next levels you'd have the sword anyway, because the game expects you to have the sword. But, yeah, it's a bit interesting with that, because there's no actual enemies in this version. I screwed that up. I was just kind of going. Unfortunately, that means I would need to do the whole thing again, so give me a bit. In fact, actually, I don't need the sword, because we would have made it here anyway. This is where the guard would normally be, and that's why you'd need the sword in order to get to the stairs, which isn't actually stairs, but more like a little developer bonus room that you have to put effort in after knowing the code just to access. And there we are. There's the development team of the original. Well, I say of the original. The original Sands of Time releases. Probably not the ones who worked on the remaster. Which is funny, by using the camera perspective button, it does actually zoom in on them when you're standing here. Anywhere else... Oh no, I guess it perspectives in this room to the developers if you're in the room. But anywhere else throughout the level, because you're not allowed to see what's in the room... Oh, it's not focusing on the pop anymore. I guess... In different rooms, it just focuses on different parts of the room. So we just had, like, the penguin cabinets. Or is that tobacco? Could be tobacco. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's just that little storage room of stuff. As well as a little developer image. But that's about it, really. So, I would have to reload my save now to actually get back to the game. So that's when I would have to obviously cut back to where I was going to cut to all the other stuff. Again, mess with video, you understand, but that is just how it is, because the only way I can get out of here is to quit.
Before finishing my story.
What story, mate? There was nothing here. And it doesn't allow us to get in there. There's nothing here. Even though, if you look carefully at the texture, there's a line here and a line here. In fact, if you look up just above there as well, where the blocks are right above our head there, there's a corner there and a corner there. The texture was updated as well, but it still shows that this should be bashable, but there's nothing behind there. In fact, there is a little sliver there, actually, I've just noticed. Don't think I can look through that, unfortunately. Yeah, there's like a little crack that shows behind there. It's still modelled behind there. You just can't access it. That's because the PS3 version does not include anything. Not the original Prince of Persia, not the sequel to the original Prince of Persia, or the Shadows of the Flame. So, yeah, there's literally nothing in this version that allows us to unlock anything. So pushing this switch is kept, it just doesn't do anything for us. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to push onwards. That's going to be a nightmare to edit, because I have actually recorded the showing that off in the other versions already ahead of time. And then, you know, everything in July happened, because I actually recorded it at the end of May. So everything from part 4 onwards, that was after August. And, yeah, it's, everything before then was recorded in May. So it's been a bit of a gap. We can't make this jump, but if we wait for Farida to find her way through this crack of hers, she should end up where that little white patch is, which would normally be one of those symbols on the floor of the... There we go, she's grabbed it.
Can you make it?
Don't step off that switch!
We can make it across. Of the palace defense system. If she steps off of that, that would have retracted. And that would have been terrible. Which, for some reason, I couldn't move or turn the camera. That was fun. Yeah, nice upskirt shot. Do you want to move, please? You're actually preventing me from climbing up. Okay, there's enemies up ahead. I missed that entire... Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep the camera zoomed out here. They're all blue spears, which is terrible. So, we're going to have to... Well, actually, no, you're a chain dude, so I can quickly absorb you. Oh, you just got slumped, so I can knock you over. Nice, take you out immediately. I might be tempted to just do a Mega Flash. Because I'm not a fan of these guys. But I would also like to start the next part on a full health, because I do actually need to get to the save point to show off the stuff that is kept in this version, which I've already shown off in this video. As I said, this video is a bit of a mess in terms of how I have to record and edit, because otherwise I've got to play this bit again. I could just save and show it off. So, but yeah, those, as you've seen, the button codes for the secret areas are still in the PS3 version. It's the only version that, well, other than the PC version, I guess, that lacks the bonus. Because you can actually get the original Prince of Persia on Steam or, you know, abandonware, emulation, whatever you want. Or whatever version you want. I think the version that is supposed to be included in this for PS2 and GameCube and Xbox is actually the one that you can get on Steam. And I'm not talking about the 3D remake that actually uses this game's graphics. Alright, so this isn't too bad. I'm liking this camera angle. I mean, considering what we were talking about, this gives me a view of the whole room. So it's actually perfect. I thought I knocked him down. I say it's perfect, and yet I'm kind of scrubbing here. Slowing these guys down is probably a good thing. You got knocked down, so I'll just absorb you. Volt! There we go, Volt Smack. More Volt Smack, even. Knock you down. Absorb you. Just take you out. I don't care. I don't know what it is, but I have a habit on actually holding the triangle button when I'm doing an absorption. I don't need to. It's just a habit. I guess it's like, oh, I'm absorbing, so I need to hold the button. I guess, like, you know, Luigi's Mansion and Disney's Haunted Mansion. It's just, again, a habit from those games, I guess. You've just got back up, but that's fine. If I can... Damn it. I guess I can't. You know what? I'll just, Okay, I won't get the wall vault. I'll just... combo you. And there we go. At least that's now sorted. And there's our save point. I mean, this bit in itself only took about 10 minutes, but the rest of the video is going to take a lot more, so... yeah, well, you'll see the final size of the video after the fact. But yes, in the next episode, guys, now that we've covered all the unlockable bonuses, depending on the version you're playing, because, again, only the US Xbox version has the Shadows and the Flame instead of the original Prince of Persia, but you beat the game to unlock the original. You basically get more for your buck. So, again, if you have an Xbox 360 with a hard drive, or even an Xbox One, Series S, well, Series X, I guess, so you can put the disc in, you get a decent amount of content, an additional game even, with just one... with one disc. I just noticed that the prince is just kind of staring. He's like thinking about it, pondering, like, do I really want to step into this? I'm done with the headaches already. I need more drink. I'm thirsty. I need to hydrate. Unfortunately, that is not an issue because of our current health, which is pretty cool, I guess. So, let's hop in. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.